when I started my weight loss journey in 2016, the diet industry was $62 billion each year. Today, it's over $82 billion each year. What that tells me is diets don't work, because if they did, those companies would be out of business after a few years and we all be thinner and healthier.
Welcome to Be Bold Branding, where we discuss the power of differentiating yourself through your own unique story and standout personal brand. Are you jaded when it comes to the healthcare system? Do you feel alone, like you're responsible for your own health journey? Well, that's because you are. And today's guest is David Medansky, known as the Health Guy and the author of Jaded Health. His mission is to alert you to the deceptive marketing tactics used by the food, drug, and weight loss industries who put their profits above your health. Let's dig into this important topic and why David does what he does.
David, welcome to Be Bold Branding.
Oh, thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you on, and this is a pretty poignant and hot topic these days, I think. We'd like to know, before we really dig into this, though, will you tell us a little bit about your background, what led you to get into this space, what motivated you to become such an outspoken authority on this subject?
Sure. Thank you. For most people who don't know, I am a former divorce lawyer. So I know how to do research and sift through the facts and the fiction and the opinion. And when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was fit and trim. However, like most people, life gets in the way with kids and work responsibilities. I stopped exercising. I started eating fast foods and convenient foods. And before I realized it, the weight crept up on me. I got my wake-up call in July of 2016 at age 61, when my doctor told me, based on my lab results and that I was fat, I had a 95% chance for a fatal heart attack. He gave me two options.
Wake-up call.
Yeah, that's a good wake-up call. My doctor gave me two options. He said I could lose weight or find a new doctor. And he strongly encouraged me to find a new doctor because he had been after me for 8 years to lose weight. If I did lose weight on a diet, I gained it all back, sometimes even more. I was frustrated, I was embarrassed, and I was humiliated. This time was different. The light bulb went off, and during the next 4 months, I shed 50 pounds, which was 25% of my total body weight. More importantly, I've kept it off. And then 2 years ago, at age 67, in June, I hiked up Mount Kilimanjaro.
Wow.
Bravo.
That's awesome.
So I went back and I started reading my books from the 1970s by Paul and Patricia Bragg, Jack LaLanne, Richard Simmons, who unfortunately just passed, and William Duffy's Sugar Blues, and others. Then I started reading books from current authors, and it made it sound like current authors were talking about their products, their supplements, their methods and programs, and it made it sound like if you didn't invest with them, you'd fail. Whereas the people from the 1970s were talking about basic principles and concepts. So that's why I started writing books about it and helping other people reduce weight in a healthy, sustainable manner. And more importantly, learn how to change their lifestyle instead of going on diets.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a huge topic. I mean, we could dig into this for days because I'm just a very outspoken advocate of that kind of thing, of taking care of your own health, because I can tell you that we each have had family members in the hospital over the last couple of years, and some that visit doctors, unfortunately, on a very regular basis and on lots of medications, and their doctors don't follow up with them. They post their information to my chart, scaring the hell out of them, right? And making, using big words that they have to go look up on Google, and then they have to call back and get a report read to them in English. What does this report mean about my health? And then push for the next appointment. And that's just a vicious cycle that has gotten much, much worse since the pandemic, in my opinion, but it was headed in a terrible direction before then. So there you go. I unloaded. So go ahead, David. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you. My friend Michaela Gaffinstone has a great quote. It's the industry will get you sick. Big pharma will keep you sick. And the diet and weight loss industries are aiding and abetting both of them.
Mm.
It's
Yes.
unfortunate because a lot of diseases today are preventable, such as type 2 diabetes, and oftentimes it's reversible.
Mm-hmm.
What people don't realize is if you're over age 50, there's an 80% probability that you're a type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic. And what it means if you're pre-diabetic is if you don't change your eating habits and lifestyle in 7 years, you'll be a full-blown type 2 diabetic. And I get upset with the commercials on TV for the semaglutide. I won't mention names so I don't get sued. But there's no magic pill. There's no magic formula to reduce weight and be healthy. They're finding that people who do those injections and those drugs, if they're on it for over a year, they're having permanent gastrointestinal issues.
Wow.
It's different for each person. Also, once you stop those expensive medications, and that's what they are, is medications, you gain all the weight back. Sometimes you gain more. So I advocate for not going on a diet. Diets are temporary, extreme, hard to stick with, and a lot of them are potentially dangerous to your health. Instead, change your diet, change what you're eating, change what you're drinking as far as beverages.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely agree with all that. And there was a book, I don't know if you're familiar with it, that was written decades ago called Diets Don't Work. I read that one, and that's really where I first understood that our minds want to go to a solution, and we think, okay, it's just like if I just eat these things, if I don't eat all of these things and I just eat these things, then my life is going to be perfect, right? But it's not. It is about what you just said. It's changing a lifestyle. And even though people say it all the time, they don't do it.
Yeah. And yeah, the difference in theory and reality, right? Making it practical is something big. I know I still am a terrible eater. I was definitely a terrible eater before she came into my life, and she has, systematically, maybe too strong of a word, but she has replaced a lot of things that I would run to eat with more healthy options. And then I didn't feel like I gave anything up, to eat that way. And now I've become very self-conscious about, high sodium levels and sugar levels and drinks and food and processed food, and even in healthy options like, sub sandwiches and things like that actually you're probably consuming something as bad for you as if you just, went to McDonald's or something. You got any words of wisdom with that?
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the food today is highly processed, ultra processed, and manufactured. And a lot of it has chemicals in it. It started in the late 70s, early 1980s. So when I started my weight loss journey in 2016, the diet industry was $62 billion each year. Today, it's over $82 billion each year. What that tells me is diets don't work, because if they did, those companies would be out of business after a few years and we'd all be thinner and healthier.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the average person will attempt 4 to 5 new diets each year. And over a lifetime, they'll attempt 126 different diets. So again, diets don't work. What I tell people is a diet is like a sprint. With a sprint, there's a finish line. And a lot of people, when they reach their goals for their weight loss, they revert back to their old habits and then regain all their weight, sometimes more. If you think of a lifestyle as a marathon, then you just keep running and going. And in this marathon, there's no finish line.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference. And a lot of times, like you said, Michael, if you focus on what you enjoy that's healthy, that you want to eat, and not focus on the things that you like but aren't healthy for you, because what you focus on expands, then that's what you're going to gravitate toward. And once you start eating healthier and make better choices, and that's what it comes down to, is choices, then you'll make better decisions, you'll feel better, and the stuff that you were eating before won't taste the same. In fact, a lot of times people will tell me it tastes bad. One example I can give is I had a client a few years ago who stopped drinking soda for about 6 months. And one day she had a craving, so she went through the McDonald's drive-through to get a Coke, and she said the Coke tasted funny to her. So she drove across the street and got a can of Coke, and that tasted funny to her. Once she realized it wasn't that the soda was bad, it was her taste buds had changed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't think I've had a soda in I don't even know how many years. Now, once in a blue moon, I'll pick up like something like a ginger ale or something like that, but it would be really, really rare because I'm determined not to drink my calories, unless it's wine, of course.
It's not so much the calories, it's the toxic, in my opinion.
So true. Oh my gosh, yes.
Are toxic and poisonous, and people don't realize it. And like Michael said earlier, and I think you did too, Tanya, we all know what to do. We just don't do it. And it's not so much what we can do, it's what we will do. And that's the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You know, and let's shift just a little bit. You know, one of the most impressive things that you do is actually help people get off of medications. And that's something me and Tanya also are passionate about, because we've known family members that were just taking, you know, all these drugs, and then drugs that counteract the drugs that they were taking that were already doing the damage stuff. I mean, what has been the most impactful story that you can think of in your tenure regarding that?
My own story, to be honest, I'm off all medications, and I did it with doctor supervision. And I explained to him I wanted to get off my medications. I had lost the weight. I'm eating healthier. And so the way we did it was to titrate off of it. And that means that you reduce the amount that you're taking gradually. And so you don't want to go off your medication cold turkey. That will cause severe ramifications. And I always want to emphasize that people should do it with medical supervision and not on their own. However, I do have a lot of clients who have lost their weight, changed their eating habits, and are off their medications completely, or have at least reduced their medication amount. That's what makes me feel good, is when they're no longer on it. What other things that make me feel good is when I get emails saying how much weight they've lost, how much energy they have now, how they're feeling better, how they don't have any mental, brain fog in the afternoon, they're sleeping better, and just overall more vitality.
Yeah, that's huge, because it's quality of life, and you don't really realize it when you don't have it, right? When you just wake up every day and you're feeling bad because of all the medications and all the foods that you're eating that are just toxins to your body, and you don't feel bad, you don't really think, well, I could feel better, because you've kind of lost a little bit of hope that you're ever really going to feel better again. So what's been that one catalyst, that one thing that you have seen more than anything that can turn people around, can get them to see, okay, if you do this, this will happen, or if you don't do this?
Well, it's different for each individual. A lot of times people won't do it for themselves. However, if you're a business owner, I usually will ask you, what would happen to your employees if something happened to you? And when they think about their business and their employees, or what it would affect their spouse or kids or grandkids, then they do it for other people rather than for themselves. The other thing is, if you're an employee and you like the company you're working for, what would happen to your company and your boss if something happened to you where you're no longer able to, go to work and do your job? So that's one thing. And one thing I'll do in a teasing way for mostly spouses, women who their husbands refuse to do something about their health issues, I'll just ask them, ask your husband to take out an extra $1 million in life insurance. And they'll say, why? I said, that way you can enjoy it with the next guy. Now, some people find that funny and some don't. So
I
love it.
That's great. But it does get people to see, like, there are ramifications here. There are consequences to the choices that we make every single day. And to your point, a lot of times we put ourselves last. And there are things that I would do quicker and better for somebody else's benefit than for my own. And I don't think I'm alone in that.
It's interesting, because today there was a post on social media where someone was having a discussion where they said, well, yeah, we're eating all this bad food, but our lifespans are longer. And my comeback was, you may be living longer. It may not be a good quality of life. And if you want to check that out, go to a nursing home or an assisted living home and look at the residents there and see the quality of their life. And would you really want to exist that way? Or do you want to have energy and be able to get on the ground and play with the grandkids or kids, be a participant rather than a spectator? But if you go and visit people in, like I said, a nursing home or an assisted living home, and you're seeing what they're going through, who wants to live that way? You're not traveling, you're not enjoying. Whereas if you maintain your body and you keep it healthy, then you can enjoy your life. And that's what's important, is the quality, as you mentioned.
Like what you're hearing? Hit that subscribe button and learn how you can change how you're seen and charge what you're worth.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Longevity of life, but having that vitality to enjoy it. Yeah, you don't want to, just spend the last of it, or working and working and working to make a whole lot of money and then having to spend all of that money just to stay alive. Like those just sort of superfluous argument, right?
Well, there's an expression. It's when we're younger, we sacrifice our health in pursuit of wealth. And as we're older, we spend our wealth in pursuit of health. Yeah. So you need to find a balance so that you can enjoy your wealth and your health at the same time.
Yeah, great way to put it. You have 9 simple golden rules for living a healthy life. You want to share those with us?
Yes. And when I share them, people look at me and say, I know that. And my comeback is, I understand you know it. Are you doing it? And 90% of people say no. And then the question is, why not? Why aren't you doing what you know what to do? So we'll go through them. The first one is to drink an adequate amount of pure water, not the flavored waters and not the carbonated waters, but pure water. And the reason I say that is our bodies are 60 to 70% water. It's not soda, diet soda, fruit juices, or fruit flavored beverages or milk. And the other thing is, a lot of times people think they're hungry when they're actually thirsty. Mm-hmm. And 75% of the US population is chronically dehydrated. What that means is there's a direct correlation to 72% of the US population being overweight, of which 42% are clinically obese. So water is very important because, again, we're 60 to 70% water. So you want to stay hydrated. Water also acts as a natural appetite suppressant. So you don't need to take diet pills that suppress your appetite. Just drink more water. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is to avoid the highly processed, ultra-processed, and manufactured foods. And the way to figure that out is if it comes in a package or a can, it's probably processed. And then start reading the ingredients. You'll be surprised what's in there. Number 3 is to eat real, holistic, whole foods. Eat an apple, eat an orange. Instead of drinking orange juice, in my opinion, is bad for you because it's a lot of sugar, and it takes 4 to 8 medium oranges to make a glass of orange juice. So I asked people, would you eat 4 to 8 oranges at one time? Well, no, but that's how much sugar you're getting with 1 glass of orange juice. So eat the whole orange with the fiber and everything else in it. Eat the apple, berries, nuts, all the good stuff. Number 4 is to eat small portions. Our food portions have been supersized without people realizing it. In the 1900s, the average size dinner plate was 9 inches in diameter. Today, it's 12 inches. And in restaurants, it's 13 to 15 inches. Yet in Europe, except for the UK, the average size dinner plate is still 9 inches in diameter. So what I tell people is use a salad plate instead of a dinner size plate. Number 5, slow down when you eat your meals. We tend to eat fast. I call it mindless eating. We'll be at our desk, at our computers, in the car from fast foods, watching TV, and before you know it, the food is gone. Well, where did it go? Well, you ate it without realizing it. So focus on the food. Mark David, who wrote the Slow Down Diet, says if you take 5 minutes for breakfast, give yourself 10, and a minimum, give yourself 30 minutes for lunch and 30 minutes for dinner. Now, I'm not advocating you have to eat 3 meals a day. What I am saying is when you eat those meals, give yourself sufficient time. And the reason I say that is because everybody's different. Some people like to eat smaller meals throughout the day, and some people do with just one big meal throughout the day. You have to figure out what's best for you and your body and determine that. Number 6, is to get adequate sleep. And I mean quality sleep of 7 to 8 hours minimum. Researchers show that if you are sleep deprived, you consume an extra 500 calories per day the next day. And when you want to lose weight, you have to burn an extra 500 calories per day for an entire week to lose 1 pound. And that's what happens. People then turn to the energy drinks, which are loaded with chemicals and do more damage to the body than good. So you want to get adequate quality sleep. The next thing, number 7, is I call it rest to digest, which is an intermittent fast. When I say intermittent fasting, people roll their eyes thinking starvation. It's not. Most people do an intermittent fast without realizing it. According to some experts, intermittent fast can be 12 hours long. If you stop eating 3 hours before you go to sleep and you get 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep, and your first meal of the day is to break the fast, which is not breakfast, but to break the fast, that's 12 to 13 hours. So what I recommend is when you first get up, drink a minimum of 8 ounces of water. I drink 22 ounces of water when I first wake up. Number 1, it rehydrates you. And number 2, it acts as an appetite suppressant. Number 8 is to think positive. 80% of our thoughts are negative. Imagine what would happen if we changed that to 80% of our thoughts being positive. And then golden rule number 9 is to walk each day. I recommend a minimum of a half an hour to an hour. Rebel Wilson lost 77 pounds in a year walking an hour each day. Now, I realize not everybody has an hour to devote to walking each day. Mindy Kaling also lost weight, and what she did is when she had a 10 or 15-minute break, instead of texting friends or being on social media, she would go for a 10 or 15-minute walk. Well, if you do that 4 or 5 times throughout the day, you're getting in 40 minutes to an hour. So again, you can break it up. It doesn't have to be all at one time.
And number 10 is have a little furry friend that barks in the background so you can to force you to walk, right?
Exactly.
I love it. We love dogs around here. So
actually,
dogs are welcome.
You can add number 10, which is to laugh and have fun.
Yes. There you go.
At everything.
At everything. At everything. Yeah. Yeah. But it is true. A lot of people with animals like that forces them to like get out of the house and go for a walk and just exercise. Like we said, some people will do some more for that, definitely more for their dogs than they would for themselves.
Oh yeah. And walking is the most underrated physical activity you can do.
It's my favorite.
You don't need to go to a gym. You don't need to have a gym membership. You don't need a trainer. Just, if you can stand upright and move forward, you're good to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, agreed. And you don't have that recovery period where you're super sore and you just, it's that much harder to keep going. And walking something that's really, really,
well, one caveat with that, Michael, if someone hasn't done any physical activity in a long time or hasn't walked a lot,
true.
Go out and attempt to walk an hour right at the beginning, because you will be sore the next day. Just build up that. Start with 10 or 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then build up to half an hour, 45 minutes, and then an hour. Again, this is a gradual, it's a journey. It's not a destination.
Yeah.
There's also no vaccine that you can get one shot where it's going to, you're going to lose weight and be healthy all of a sudden. It's a process.
Mm-hmm. It is a process. Yeah. And I know that you help a lot of individuals, with advice like this on shows like this. And you have your own TV show called Jaded Health, which congratulations on that. And also, Michael, if you hold that up, this is the Jaded Health book that David sent us. There you go. Yep. Doubling down. Amazing. So if you're somebody who realizes, and you should realize, that you are responsible for your own health, even when it comes to your doctor, you have to follow up. They're not following up with you people. You got to do the other way around. And the best part is, it'd be awesome if you didn't need them, right? Not for lots of medications. Let's put it that way. Everybody needs a doctor now and then. But so I know one of the things that you do is work with corporations to help them build a customized health and wellness program inside their business. Tell us just a little bit about who you serve, David.
Yes, I work with companies or organizations that have 50 to 150 employees, and I partner with a company called Nuvita, Nuvita, and we use their software and technology and my teaching philosophies and principles, and I customize it for their employees. And the reason I do that is because it increases the profit for the company or the organization. Um, Stress and burnout are major causes of absenteeism and turnover. To replace an employee takes either 1/2 to 2 times their annual salary based on the position of the employee. Imagine if you can retain the person and you don't have to replace them. Also, you can reduce absenteeism, which costs the company for an hourly worker about $3,600 per year. That all increases the profitability of the company. The other thing is when the employees are healthy and have a wellness program, they have better morale, they have more energy, and they're more productive. And more importantly, the employee feels that the company cares about them rather than just being another number or a piece of meat to use and spit out. So it has a lot of benefits for the organization and the company.
Very good.
Those are all
Yeah.
important points, because you look back and you don't realize where you lose money, and that's the last thing corporations want to do. But not only do you not lose, but you gain on the other side, because when we feel good about ourselves, we treat other people differently.
And
Mhm.
the beauty of the program is it's 4 6-week challenges throughout the year. So the way I work it is you have 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off. And that way you get time to improve and build on the new habits that you're learning to create for living a healthier life.
I like that a lot. That's really progressive, I think. How can the audience learn more if they and research you more if they want to work with you and reach out to you?
They can reach out to me at David Medansky, my first and last name, at gmail.com. My last name is spelled Medansky, like 3 words, me, Dan, and Sky. Just make it sound Polish. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and they can go to jadedhealth.com. And if they want to watch seasons 1 and upcoming 2 of Jaded Health TV, the episodes are on jadedhealth.tv.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, we definitely agree with your subject matter and your direction, David. It's a very important thing. We want to institute it in our lives. She's won me over a great deal. I'm on the right track. So we'll perfect it at some point. And I loved your 9 simple golden rules because they're all obtainable. Like you can just slip those directly into a lifestyle and without feeling like you've got to give up everything. And I think that's big. I think it's real big.
Specific, measurable reasons to do
Mhm.
all of those
What's
9.
interesting is a person I met at a networking event a few months ago. I ran into him and he told me that he lost 15 pounds in 40 days simply because he printed off the 9 simple golden rules that I sent to him as a PDF. And he put it on his refrigerator and he just looked at it every day and he followed it. And so I'm happy to send anybody in the audience a PDF of the 9 simple golden rules. If they would like, just send me an email. Again, it's davidmedansky@gmail.com, and I'm happy to send it to them.
Oh, perfect.
Very good.
We'll make sure that's in the show notes too, David. Well, just so you know, Michael's next homework in this arena is to read the entire Jaded Health book. So we're on it over here.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be digging into it too. I've skimmed it already because we just received it, and so I skimmed it already, and now I'm gonna dig into it. I love it, David, and thank you so much for taking time with us today. It's a very important topic, and you're a game changer in that world.
Thank you so much for having me. And one thing, when you do read the book, let me know what your favorite parable or short story is, because what the audience may not know is the book has many parables and short stories with life lessons. And I applied those life lessons to live in a healthier life.
I love it.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Another reason to pick it up is Jaded Health. Once again, and David Medansky. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Michael.
Ready to change how you're seen and charge what you're worth? If you're not getting enough opportunities to meet with ideal customers, or the prospects you're meeting with just aren't ideal, it's most likely your brand that's holding you back. So if you're a coach, consultant, or expert who is on the rise, you need our ultimate guide to a freedom-based brand. Download it free now at BrandFaceGuide.com.